All right, today is another edition of Home Studio Tours in 2020, and today's host is a good friend of mine. His name is Sam Hunter. He is a totally wicked session guitarist and a tremendously talented artist in general. I actually just listened to a record. He has a record on Spotify that he's like told nobody about. It's called Lyrics Available Upon Request. After listening to the record, I was totally blown away because it sounds absolutely phenomenal. And I know he's a talented like artist and musician already, but just the sounds of the record is just totally crazy. He did the whole thing in his basement in his home studio. So we got to go check this thing out. But before we do, make sure to smash like for the YouTube algorithm, hit that subscribe button if you're into videos like this. And then when the video's done, go check out Sam's stuff. He's got a YouTube page, Sam Hunter Music, and Spotify and the whole deal. Let's go check it out.
ANDREWMASTERS.
What's up, dude?
Hey,
how are
going?
you?
Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Come on in.
Dude.
Welcome to my basement.
This is so vibey, dude. Fireplace. Look at this collection. What mic is that?
It's just a Telefunken CU29, the Copperhead. There's this really wonderful producer named Willie Breeding that I work with, and every time I'd go over to his place, he would have this on my acoustics, and every time I heard something he recorded that sounded amazing, I'd say, "What was that?" And he said, "It's this mic." And so I went to Sweetwater and I looked at getting one, almost got one like 3 times, but I just never pulled the trigger on it. Then one day I go over to his place to do some overdubs, and it's just laying in the floor. I asked him, "Well, what's the deal with that?" And he said, "Well, I think I'm going to sell it because I'm just tired of using it." I asked him how much he was selling it for, and he said, "They're usually like $1,200 or $1,300 or whatever."
Okay.
And so he said, "Man, I'm thinking $1,000. You know, it's used and whatever." And he said also it was modded by Shannon Rhodes. I don't know if y'all know, Shannon Rhodes is a major like mic guy who does amazing mods on things. Basically, this is the only one that sounds that way.
Wow.
So it's like I had to buy it.
Yeah.
So it's like my first real like nice condenser mic.
That's awesome.
It was quite an upgrade because I was using a little blue Spark. That's what I had for a while. Rig rundown.
All right, let's see.
Okay, if you go to Spotify and you find my album, aside from like the 57s that I would use for like the drum miking or whatever, the vocal sounds and like guitar amps and whatever, or this mic, this blue mic.
Wow.
I mean, literally like this, and it buzzes, and you have to twist it a certain way to keep it from buzzing. You can't use the bright switch on this because it'll buzz too much. Okay. This is professional grade gaff tape.
Yeah, that is very legitimate.
Into this beautiful art tube preamp. See, it says studio.
Oh yeah, tube.
So it's for the studio.
Yep.
Into this RNC, really nice compressor. That's what it was.
Well, what's hilarious is that your recordings actually sound astonishingly like I seriously thought you had like an EMI in here, a Neve or something.
Oh God, I wish.
Dude, it sounds so good. You got in this box here.
These two are Chandler pieces. This is the Chandler Germanium Pre. This is the TG2. This and then I've got this Retro Pre and the Retro double wide compressor, which is a bunch of tubes and sounds really great.
What are you running through that compressor? Do you run stereo through it or mono?
It's mono. It's just a mono compressor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and man, everything sounds really great through it. It's pretty intuitive.
Vocal and
oh yeah,
drums.
I put everything through it, even if it's not fully compressing it. But you can get limiting all the way up to crazy intense pumping, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be like a stay level, like this whole thing right here. So right now the way I have it set up is I'm able to plug in to the back of this directly, and I lucked out really important just for workflow for me is not having to constantly track down cables.
Yep.
So I got these colored cables here, and I got the yellow one, and it matches this yellow guy right here.
Genius.
And then I got this red one, it matches this red guy here.
Yep.
Leave a comment below to tell me what I should put here, because I have no idea. So, and then I've got, you know, DI box to get into these two things if I need to. It's going into a compressor, whatever. And then I'm coming out into this PreSonus, and that's pretty much it. I use Logic. I got it like about a year ago, and I've been updating it. I had a Zoom 8-track recorder.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was doing everything on. I would like program drums in GarageBand, like, you know, 2008 GarageBand.
Yeah.
And then I would burn a CD of it and put it in the hard drive.
Oh, yeah.
And like import that audio twice because it wouldn't be loud enough, you know? So that's how I was like making all my recordings. Then a friend of mine said, no, it was my dad actually, who said, you should look at getting a computer. And which is funny because usually it's the other way around, where it's like, Dad, I need, but I was so fine with what I had. He said, you should maybe get a slightly better setup. There's some computer programs that are great. And this friend of mine said, I have Logic 9 on a CD if you want to try it out.
Wow.
And I had done so much work in GarageBand, a lot of the like keystrokes and shortcuts and stuff translated perfectly to Logic. So then it's like, well, that's just what I used. And then, and I used Logic 9 up until last summer. This is for if I'm writing or if I need to mock up something more interesting and inspiring than Logic Click.
Okay.
You know?
Yep.
It's just this little USB keyboard by Arturia, and I just do it to play like a quick drum beat or something.
Yep.
Because I have the Nord, which is great, but a lot of times if I'd want to use that, I've got to like set it up, plug it in, get the stand out, all the stuff, and then it's kind of in the way for a lot of time.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. So this is kind of like, well, if I'm just throwing something down, there it is. This is one of the most fun things I've ever gotten. A lot of what I get is really work related, or like, oh, this would be a great distortion for this kind of thing, or like, oh, this would blend well, or what.
Yep.
This is just pure like toy. Which is this? And then it's got this color button. Like, hear the snare. You can get a different color out of it. Same thing with the... Just a little more punchy, you know? It's kind of your clap sound.
You're so good at that.
So I'm pretty much... I think I'm just done with guitar. They're
Everything.
so antiquated. Yeah. I mean, strings? Are you kidding me?
So what mics you got over here? You got that's the Telefunken.
Yeah, that's the Telefunken.
I see an Audio-Technica.
Yeah, this is one I've had forever. This is of course the R84, which is such a fun mic. And then this little MXL $100 ribbon is so fun to use. It's meant for like, you know, for really loud things.
Yeah.
So you can put it right in a guitar cab and it's completely fine. And it's a great room mic, actually. My buddy Ace Lutz told me about these. He is engineer at County Q, and...
You said $100?
Yeah, it's like $100.
Oh.
And it's great. I've dropped it and haven't had any problems with it. I'm really good at dropping stuff.
What's that AEA go for, the mono one?
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's gonna be like $1,000, right?
I think it's like 12 or something. Yeah,
okay.
grand or 12.
I think that's the mono version of the R88, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great ribbon.
It is. It really is. The top end, that when you add the top end to it, it's like, it's just beautiful. I use all of these things on everything. Here's my mic locker, courtesy of TJ Maxx. You know, I've got, you know, of course your standard issue D112 57s. I got a 81 here.
Nice. Okay.
SM81.
Solid collection.
They're all things that I
seen a lot of similarities to stuff on my kit.
Yeah. I mean, you can't go wrong with any of those. So this board is sort of like years of trial and error, you know,
Mhm.
these are the main things I've ended up using. You know, I mean, I'm always going to want to buy pedals, but that doesn't mean they're going to be right for everything.
Right.
Or they'll be way quirky, or, you know. This is mainly what I use. I switch out a couple of these things. I have a couple other drives. The sessions I was doing this week, I happen to have use for this actual vibrato pedal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll usually have like a compressor, and this EP booster's great, and then a couple drives for different sounds. Any of the Strymon stuff is great. I use these, gosh, probably more than anything. The El Capistan and the Flint. Delay, tremolo, reverb. And then I got this guy for a little extra reverb action, you know.
Yeah.
And then this Line 6 thing is the HX Stomp. That has everything else that, like, it's got phasers and all these different sounds that it may not make sense to have a dedicated pedal for.
Mhm.
And it's got, last night I was doing some overdubs, and I actually used the guitar synth sound that it has.
Oh wow.
I mean, it's got crazy sounds, and they're really usable, and they're fun, and they're those things that they're the kind of sounds that the moment you play them, everyone goes, oh, "What's that?"
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's pure fun, and that's
yeah.
all I'm really trying to maintain is like what's super fun and like not a monkey wrench, you know. So that's mainly what this is. I'll usually bring I've got a Coca-Cola bag that I'll put these extra kinds of pedals in. I love fuzzes so much. Probably more than I should. This is sort of like a mid 60s to very early 70s era. That's kind of like the golden age of classic fuzz.
Bright
So-
colors.
Yes, exactly. And they're all based on this British, you know, like British fuzzes or whatever.
Yeah.
So this is like a perfect fuzz face.
Nice.
Like a perfect like 1966 fuzz face or whatever. And it sounds really great. And these are like, this is the Led Zeppelin Jimmy Page Tonebender Mark II. And this is the Mark I, like Jeff Beck mid-60s thing. And then these two things here are like David Gilmour, Mark Bolan, T-Rex,
Yes.
Jeff Beck. Like
Yes.
these are so loud that the original ones didn't come with these little...
Attenuators.
Yeah, this is a master here. Because they were so freaking loud that you either had to have them on all the time or not even use them. And so when you think about those guys were using these, I don't know what the exact decibel level is, but it's freaking loud.
Yeah.
So they're using this into their high watt stacks. It's like, oh my God, how are they alive? And then this is kind of like a modern, more of a modern thing. It's really great. You can get everything from zippy kind of Jack White to almost opened up overdrive.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it was this guy. And I forget exactly. You hold this down, and you can get sound on sound looping. You know, you can build a loop.
Wow.
And then with the tape speed, you can half it normal or double it. That's what's great. There's a lot of hidden features on this pedal, like this one and the El Capistan. There's some great hidden features. They're more than just delay. It's a Rogers kit. I inherited it. My grandfather, he's a country guitarist. He came to town in the mid-50s, and he played for Bill Anderson. He was Bill Anderson's first guitarist.
Wow.
And through playing with Bill, he would be part of these package shows that would have like Patsy Cline and George Jones and whatever. So he like knew all these people. And then anyways, he started playing for Eddie Arnold, and for the last 40 years of Eddie's career, he was his guitarist. And in that time, he was able to build a studio on West End, and it had like, I mean, it was an old kind of like burlap on the walls kind of thing.
Yeah.
This kit of drums was there. It's kind of an incomplete hodgepodge.
Frankenstein.
Yeah,
Got the White Oyster Rogers. You know what year or era that's from?
Like mid to late 60s. I think.
Okay.
I think like the tom is a holiday, but this is a power tone maybe. This is actually a Rogers drum. It's called a 972 kit is what I was told.
Okay.
This really great drummer, Tommy Wells, who did a lot of work with, he told me, he saw these drums, and funny story is, he told me that, yeah man, I had a black set of Rogers. As he started, and he was giving me the rundown on it, and then as he started looking at it, he was saying, yeah, you know, mine looked a lot like this, and then, yeah, I even changed out the hardware on mine like this. And it started getting down to like, yeah, these are the lugs that I would use. And then he said, where did your grandfather get this kit? And I said, he bought it at Corner Music like in the 80s or something. And he said, I sold my kit in the 80s at Corner Music.
No
And so it like
way.
came full circle, he was playing his old kit. So he was able to give me the whole history of the black part of this kit. Hi-hats here, okay, where the price is just like, there they are, 140 bucks.
Nice.
And then this is a Rogers Dynasonic snare. I like tight, you know, very, like lots of character, you know,
Yes.
mono or like,
Depth.
yeah, just, this isn't gonna be like, oh, you're traditional, cool, man, I can do whatever I want to with these drum stems. It's gonna be like my basement and a mic, you know. But it's fun, and it does what I want to do. This is my old K. I lucked out. This was one that was one that my grandfather had at his studio, and the neck was actually broken. And he said, well, you know, if you ever fix it, you can have it. And I don't think he counted on me fixing it. So I didn't fix it. I have a good friend's dad who fixed it. When I took this on tour, I played a couple tours with Jewel on a Christmas tour, but one of them I played upright bass, so it was like all over the country and was in a truck with crazy temperature changes, and it's just fine, you know? It sounds really great. It's loud and punchy, and it turns out it's the first year that Kay made uprights.
Wow.
So it's 1938. So it's
wow.
So it's pre-war, which is pretty amazing. This Fender Coronado, one of my favorite basses. Nothing special, really old strings.
Beautiful.
Got the Instant Vibe guitar here, the Dan Electro baritone. Also just standard issue. Have a Gretsch here that a friend is letting me borrow, and it's just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and I think I might have to buy one. I got my SG, which this is just pure rock and roll, you know. This has gone through different phases. It's been my main guitar. I had a Bigsby on it for a while, and it was never in tune, so that phase is quickly over. Now I've just got it set up. I've got the action set up high, so it's like my slide guitar.
But that's got a great sound.
Yeah, there's one guy in particular that plays slide great that plays these. So, Derek Trucks.
Oh, nice.
I want to play like him one day. This is my Les Paul. This guitar is really special to me. When I was in high school, I would only play Fender guitars just because I loved the way they felt, and I always thought these were kind of heavy. But then I listened to the Blues Breakers album, John Mayall and the Blues Breakers with Eric Clapton. That is some of the most amazing guitar tone I've ever heard. And I was doing some reading on it, and it turns out it was a Les Paul into a Marshall. And that's the first album where Les Paul was plugged into a cranked Marshall. So I thought, man, I gotta have a Les Paul. And so I was saving for it. One day, me and my parents, we went to every music store in town. And last place we went, we walk in, it's the end of the day, and we say, we're looking for a Les Paul iced tea with these knob, you know, whatever. And the guy said, well, we just got one in, but we haven't even opened the box yet. He said, I don't know if it's the right color, but I just know we got a Les Paul today. So he goes and he gets the box, he cracks open the box, pulls out the case, and anyone who gets a new Gibson knows that the cases smell like birthday cake. And I don't know if they do that on purpose, but he opened it up and it's like white plush case and smelled like birthday cake, and there it was. It was a bit more expensive than we were planning on, so me and my parents, we pulled all of our money together, and we basically spent all of our money to get this guitar. It was a tight few months after that, but I got the Les Paul.
Worth it.
Yeah, no.
So worth it.
It's really special to me. Jazzmaster, I use this on everything. I really do. I thought it was going to be like a fun little quirky guitar for like a Dick Dale tribute band or something, you know, but it's really, really great. I've always wanted an offset body Fender, but all the ones I picked up would either feel stiff or like there was too much finish on the neck, so I'd get stuck or whatever. But man, this was like, I saw the color. It's called Mystic Seafoam. Really glad I got it. We're going on our 3rd year now. And then standard issue telly. Yeah, it's
beautiful. It's such a great combination of colors too.
Yeah, it's just
Awesome.
So it's kind of and then I have a couple acoustics as well. Okay, this guitar. This is a back porch guitar. It's a studio workhorse. It really is. I get compliments all the time on how balanced this thing sounds. It records really well. It's just a really, really solid, just like acoustic sound, you know?
Man.
And it stays in tune, which is like a big deal.
What are some of the projects or records you've worked on that you're most proud of?
Well, it's funny. There's actually one that is all of those. There's this country artist named Ronnie Milsap, who is one of probably the best talents that has ever walked the earth, honestly. So if you don't know about him, Google him, look him up. He's great. I got to play on this duets album that he did. I played on a couple projects, and he's recorded a couple of my songs. And on this particular project, it's called Ronnie Milsap Duets. And the idea is he just does all these duets with like Luke Bryan, Casey Musgraves, Little Big Town, Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top, Leon Russell too, one of my personal favorites. And he was doing this duets album, and I got to play on it, and he recorded a song that I wrote with Mike Reed, and he did a duet with Willie Nelson. And if you look it up, I got to play. I played my back porch guitar on the guitar solo and on that record. So that was a real kind of like pinch me moment when all of that came together, where it's like I'm getting to play with all these great players for these great artists for a cool project, and then like as a total bonus, getting to play on a song that I co-wrote.
Yeah.
So that's one that's like, I don't know how to top that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that was a really special moment for me. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for having me in here and
You're
showing me
welcome
around.
anytime, man. All right,
See you later.
thanks.